ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः. Thank you, Nitin, and thank you to Swami Mukundananda ji and J.K. Yog for organizing this wonderful Gita summit on the sacred occasion of the birthday of the Bhagavad Gita. And if you ask which birthday, we say we stop counting after 5,000. After that, it really doesn't matter because the message of this Bhagavad Gita is so timeless that we can take things from the time that it was composed to now without a break. And this is because human beings more or less are the same. Doesn't matter if you take the ancient human being, even if you say caveman, cave woman, the caveman also had some desires. Today I will go out and catch something in order to feed the family. Maybe this is what the caveman thought. And then the caveman went out hoping to get a big animal to share with the whole family. And one day he was lucky and came back to the cave with lot of spoils. And then another day, unlucky, could not even get a small squirrel, outdone by life and dejected, feeling rejected, alienated. And of course, when he comes back to the cave, the family members are also not very happy. So, feeling dejected and rejected by all, having a sense of alienation and sorrow, anxiety. This is all human capital. This is not something that it's a modern emotion. Alienation is not a modern feeling, neither is sorrow nor anxiety. We dress them up in medical terminology. We call it depression, we call it generalized anxiety disorder, we call something chronic fatigue. This is not, even though we dress it up in modern lingo, medical lingo, social lingo, it is not. This is a time old issue, timeless issue. And this is where the Bhagavad Gita comes into the picture. Because human beings, wherever you go, are the same. And if you look back in time, it is still the same. And nowadays, the aspirations have become much more sophisticated, and the desires have taken on more and more complicated hues. But still, it is the same. The basic human being to whom the Gita's message is addressed is still very much the same. And therefore, it is very pertinent. And from the view of the Bhagavad Gita, we can divide this text into basically giving two messages, two kinds of teachings. And this was very nicely summed up by the previous speaker, Swami Sadatmananda ji, who gave such a wonderful, comprehensive, eloquent, and deep introduction to the whole text, that it has in fact made my task today very easy, much easier, because I can just follow up and build up on many of the things that have already been addressed by him and other speakers. So basically, the teaching that is given by the Bhagavad Gita can be divided into two. This follows the division in the Veda also. Veda also is divided generally into two portions. Karma portion, Karma Kanda,
Her voice is coming.
karma portion, and then we have Jnana portion,
रूम पे आ रही है
knowledge.
आवाज, यहाँ नहीं आ रही.
So the karma portion, the portion that deals with karma, deals with questions of
No,
act
Zoom is good.
and their
Our
results.
Zoom, our internet
There
is
are
fine.
certain actions and there are results, and then it is basically how we have the karma portion. And then we have the portion that deals with knowledge. And if you ask what knowledge, it is the knowledge of the self. It is the knowledge of the self, and it is the knowledge of oneself as non separate from Bhagavan, as non separate from the whole Jagat, as the truth of everything. This is what is called the Jnana portion. In the Veda, these two portions are very much there. Each one, the karma portion, connects to the jnana portion. How? Because in the beginning, one is a doer, one is an actor. Why is one a doer? Why is doing so attractive? Doing is very attractive because one is interested in harnessing, commandeering the results of action. One wants something. So karma is for the sake of bhoga. No other reason anybody would do anything in order to get something. And that something could be something material, or it could be something esoteric, or it could be something like fame, name, some accomplishment, or it could be something material. I want this particular thing, and so I'm going to earn some money and get it. It could be, as basic as that. So, a human being is a compendium of desires. This is what we understand from this. The karma portion of the Veda and in the Bhagavad Gita also addresses the human being who is just a walking encyclopedia of desires. That is why the karma portion is huge and the jnana portion is a slim pocket book. Keno Upanishad, 2 pages. Ishavasya Upanishad, a page and a half. Like that. It's all very, very concise. But here is where the purification is needed because these desires are huge. One more misconception of texts such as Vedanta texts such as Upanishads or the Bhagavad Gita is that we have to control our desires. Desires and spirituality don't go together because desires are bad and they have to be controlled. They have to be removed. What will happen if we do that? I remove this desire, I remove that desire, I have to remove desire, I have to remove desire. Then you are stuck with one desire. What is that desire? I have to remove every desire. Iti, that desire you are stuck with. And so therefore this Bhagavad Gita's contribution to the day to day life is in desire management, not in desire control. And from the Bhagavad Gita itself, the modern parlance has branched out to other things like anger management. Nobody says anger control, it is anger management. And so, too, in the same spirit, it is desire management. The management of the desires called in the Bhagavad Gita raga and dvesha, that is the majority of the teaching in order to prepare oneself. And this is mimicking the first portion of the Vedas, which is called the karma portion, because the person being a walking talking encyclopedia of wants is not available for any kind of knowledge. If for such a person Who wants a car? Who wants a color TV or something, so some other thing, whatever one wants? Who wants fame? Who wants to accomplish? Who wants to be the best, east or west? Who wants all kinds of things? If you start telling the person that you are Bhagavan, you are one with Bhagavan, that knowledge will boomerang back to the teacher. And so the Veda understands that, so does the Bhagavad Gita. And so we have to approach people where they are, not where you want them to be. That doesn't work at all. So approaching people where they are means taking care of those desires. Channeling those desires is part of the desire management. Channeling those desires into acts of prayer, because those desires which you can fulfill yourself by your own efforts, that is not what we are talking about at all. We are talking about those desires which you keep trying and trying and striving and meeting disappointment after disappointment after each try. That is where the rub is, that is where the pain is, that is what is most people's day to day life. Day to day life is an endless story of missed buses, missed opportunities, and one thing to miss the opportunity, but imagine the outrage if that same opportunity which one thought one was entitled to is actually gone to somebody else, which one thinks one is not entitled to. So the promotion that I should have received, for example, has gone to the co-worker. This is terrible. I am much more qualified. This is where the helplessness comes. When one is confronted with things that one cannot control, that is when one takes recourse to the Bhagavad Gita. And that is where the Bhagavad Gita and the Veda, after which it is modeled, the first portion of the Veda, channels these desires into acts of prayer. Why should we pray? I mean, there is no reason to pray. Life is going on as planned, however. So why should I pray? Well, prayer comes basically in the beginning from a sense of helplessness. I pray because all other doors are closing, all other avenues are not there anymore, and all other areas, all other situations are extremely difficult. And so, therefore, one says, okay, whoever you are, who made this world, wherever you are, and this is what I want, and I'm not getting what I want. Prayer is a karma, prayer is an action. And we know full well that every action has a result. An equal result is there. So prayer also has the result. And then what is the result of prayer? To neutralize the karmas that stand in the way of whatever you want, whether it be the promotion, whether it be a better living situation, whether it be some kind of accomplishments, whatever one is trying to do. It neutralizes the karmas standing in your way. And what are those karmas? Those karmas are your own karmas. One's own karmas, stand in the way of one's own progress, gati, siddhi, success. And whether we are talking of relative success or absolute success in the form of freedom from all longing, which we will come to towards the end, this is doesn't matter. It's still some kind of success one wants, and one finds that one is against a brick wall most of the time. That is why the Bhagavad Gita is very, very, very relevant, especially now, especially in the day to day. What is our day to day life like these days? Most of the time, we are staring onto the screen. We are we are confined more or less to our homes. We are, because of this virus. They call it coronavirus, but I think the name should be changed to Karuna virus, because actually it has helped to, Karuna means compassion. It has helped us as a civilization to grow. to stop running around, to stop in our tracks, and to accept that certain things cannot be changed. This is something which is so beautiful. And so this is one's daily life. The even the ashrams, instead of being called gurukulams, have converted themselves into zoom kulams. This is basically what it is. Everywhere we have, we are staring into screens, and in a way it has helped us to grow. In a way it has helped us to do the things we would have never dreamed of doing, to reach out to people that we would have never reached out to. And so in a way this is, what can we do in this time? One can rave, one can rant, one can say I will not wear a mask because I don't want to, but then what? you know then we have to face the consequences of not wearing a mask or whatever it is, because one is exposed. And so like this, there are, this is some way in which the Bhagavad Gita is more relevant today than at any other time, because the need is extremely great. The need of the hour is so great that there is no other option but to see what it has to tell. So there are some messages which are very relevant, and we will be just talking about that just briefly. The first one is to understand the concept of prayer and surrender, first coming out of a sense of helplessness, artha bhakti, in some sense of I don't control anything and I really want this. So it's a prayer that says, give me, give me, give me, give me this, oh Lord, give me this. Bhagavan says, Tathastu. But some prayers, people tell me, they are not answered. Well, how come my prayer is not answered? Well, it is answered. Sometimes the answer is not yet. Sometimes the answer is no, go do something else. This one you will not have. But we are not ready to take no for an answer, so we think the prayer is not answered. So the first message is one of surrender. We are dragged to a place of surrender, as this pandemic has shown, out of sheer helplessness, out of sheer worry and fear of the unknown. And so we learn surrender. And on the heels of surrender, the second teaching which of the Bhagavad Gita, which is relevant in the day-to-day life, is to accept the things that we cannot change. This is part of what is called even the serenity prayer. Oh Lord, give me the ability, give me the grace to accept the things that I cannot change, to change the things that I can change. Give me the courage, but give me the ability to accept that which cannot be changed. Why can't it be changed? Well, two reasons. The immediate reason is one's own karma. This is that one's own karma is the manifestation of the law of Bhagavan, which includes your karma. That is the second reason. It's a manifest law, it's the law of karma. And so, therefore, you are not able to change something. And what other option is there? And we grow slowly, and Bhagavan gives a lot of time, 18 chapters in which to grow, in which to resist, in which to defy common sense, to slowly come to the understanding and express, as Arjuna does in the last chapter, nashto moha smritir labdha Karishye vachanam tava. I will do as you say. My delusion has been destroyed. In fact, the Bhagavad Gita doesn't have to be 700 and odd verses. In fact, the whole teaching is summarized in the second chapter itself. It has the entire teaching. It has the way, of life. It has lessons in surrender. It has lessons in acceptance. And then it also has the vision of oneself as whole, free, limitless. And this is, this it's all already there. But then there is the third chapter, because Arjuna doesn't want to fight the war. He's resisting, and he says, if the point is knowledge, why are you putting me to this horrible karma of fighting the war? And the same question comes in a new dress in the fifth chapter. And then again, Arjuna says, at the beginning of the fifth chapter, I just want to renounce. Tell me, what is this? What is this? What is being a sannyasi? Tell me about sannyasa. Then again in the 12th chapter, who are more dear to you? Those who are able to see you as formless, and or those who worship you as forms? Same question. Again in the 18th chapter, same question. What is Tyaga? What is renunciation? What is knowledge? What is the connection? Same question. That is why the Bhagavad Gita patiently, in the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna, Bhagavan Krishna, patiently unfolds the teaching, which is repeated time and again, which is repeated again and again, so that it washes away the non-acceptance, it washes away the resistance. In other words, the teaching itself neutralizes all the raga and dvesha, suspends them at first, and in a very ingenious manner. And so therefore the Bhagavad Gita, the teaching, in addition to surrender, the next teaching is that of acceptance. And what is this acceptance? Acceptance is called in Sanskritam as prasada buddhi, taking things as prasada. And this is there in temples, it is there in even in churches. When one goes and to some Catholic church or something, something is given, bread and wine. They say, oh, this is not bread and wine, this is the body of Christ, this is the blood of Christ, it is Bhagavan. And same thing in our temples also. One week one is lucky, one goes and gets a nice laddu. What is laddu? A ball of calories. Okay, yeah. So one gets a nice laddu one day, and another day it is just some little holy water tirtham. That's all it is. And so therefore this is, this you don't fight with the priest that, oh, where is my laddu? No laddu today. Only some tulasi water. And that also has come from Bhagavan. So you touch it to your forehead and you just take it. This is what it is. This is a metaphor for greeting life. This is the metaphor for greeting life, because we don't call all the shots. In fact, as we grow, we understand we don't call any of the shots. Here we are in a jagat which is not of our liking, which is not to our liking, which is not of our making. We are here, and then because we have all these, one has all these ragas and dveshas, desires, strong preferences and strong prejudices, one doesn't know how to lead life with grace and objectivity. So, prasada buddhi, or glad acceptance, is a very important teaching for the day to day life. Because the day unfolds. Morning was glorious. Day unfolds according to the law of karma. So, prarabdha, the karma that you have come with, is like a suitcase with a combination lock. The key and the combination is with Chitragupta, Bhagavan, in the form of the one who unfolds the karma. You cannot open and see, oh, what gift do I have today? No, the gift will come. In fact, it may not even be a gift according to you, but you have to learn to see it as a gift. This is prasada buddhi. Morning is glorious. Everything went wonderfully. The coffee tasted very nice, or the tea. And then I went to work and everything was wonderful. And then what? Oh, there bad news greeted. Something happened, and the co workers are not cooperating. The boss is siding with the co workers, and all the ideas that one has is not being accepted. And so suddenly the afternoon is not going very well. And this is life. Every day it unfolds in this kind of a manner. And so to have this Equanimity, to use the words of the Bhagavad Gita, samatvam, requires requires the ability to transcend what is happening to oneself, not to take it personally, but to see it as a law of karma, which is the manifestation of Bhagavan. So, if there are difficulties in one's life, one learns to welcome these difficulties, because more Bhagavan means more difficulties, means more Bhagavan. This is the truth. More difficulties means more Bhagavan. And then one's own reactions to what one doesn't like. This is the second thing that one is forced to contend with. So, first, I have a challenge. The challenge is I cannot accept what has confronted me, what I see, I do not like at all. Challenge number one. Challenge number two, I have self hatred, because why am I being so reactive? Why can't I do what the Bhagavad Gita and the other source books of the tradition say? Why can't I just accept gladly what is there? This is the second problem. Here too, the solution is to look at the Raga Dvesha as Bhagavan itself, not as something that given by Bhagavan. Bhagavan itself. As Bhagavan himself says in the Bhagavad Gita, Kamosmi Bharatarshabha, I am in the form of desire. Oh, this is good news. It is Bhagavan in the form of my desire. Yes, it is Bhagavan in the form of your desire. Oh, that means I can go rob a bank right now, because the desire to rob a bank is also Bhagavan. Well, we have to read the fine print. What is the fine print? Dharma aviruddha bhuteshu kamosmi. I am that desire that is manifest in the human beings, that is not going against my another swarupa, which is dharma, which is righteousness, which is righteous conduct. That is also Bhagavan. So your desire, which is Bhagavan, cannot go against the manifest order of Dharma, which is also Bhagavan. Here is where the beauty is. And your reactions of, oh, I cannot accept this, I'm such an idiot, and other people are more spiritually grown than I am, and then therefore I have no other people have all grown up, and then I just sit here and groan. That is my karma. That lament is also in a way not outside of Bhagavan, because here we appreciate Bhagavan as the psychological order. If you say I am feeling lonely, then that is a very, what should I say, a personal sentiment, a personal feeling, that is a negative feeling, an oppressive feeling. But think about 7 billion plus people in the world, each one saying, I am alienated, I am lonely, I am all alone, help. Then, then you see that, okay, this thing called loneliness, alienation, separation from the whole, it is not something personal that is happening to me. It is a universal manifestation, given that there are raga dvesha in every head. Sarvesham buddhau raga dveshau vyavasthitau. In every buddhi, oh Arjuna, raga dvesha is there. But again, read the fine print. Tayor vashamna agachet. Tau hi asya paripanthinau. Please don't come under their spell. For this spiritual seeker, these raga and dveshas, they need to be managed. They need to be managed. And then, so the psychological order, appreciating the psychological order becomes very important. As soon as I see that anger is not outside of the law of Bhagavan, given this situation, the anger will come. This is a law. And given this particular background, where the primary caregivers of a particular child became primary caregivers, and then the child grew up to feel all upset, alienated, abandoned, neglected, that is also part of the law. The ability to right this wrong is also part of the law. The ability to not come under the spell of the raga dveshas, also a possibility in the law of Bhagavan, which is Ishvara. This is what it is. So, my own mind is a manifestation of Ishvara, where there are certain reasons why there is anger, why there is desire, why there are core issues, why there are childhood issues which come and eclipse the way I look at present day situation. There are reasons for that. And when we accept those reasons, that is when the step towards the healing, the step towards assimilating the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita begins. So we have surrendered. And then what else did we talk about? We talked about acceptance, acceptance of what cannot be changed, acceptance of the situation, and then finally acceptance of one's own reactivity as a law of Bhagavan. And in fact, we should just say manifestation of Bhagavan. It's all the manifestation of Bhagavan. Everywhere is Bhagavan in everything. So one's ability to act is Bhagavan in the form of the law of karma. One's ability to receive the results of action is also Bhagavan. And so, therefore, the third teaching that is relevant for our day to day life, the third teaching of the Bhagavad Gita is to consciously disidentify, consciously begin the process of strategic disidentification from the misapprehension that one is the actor, that one is in charge, that one is in control, because that does not bode very well. To be in control is not very nice at all. To be in control is not very, it's not a good position. Why? But I want to be in control. What do you mean to be in control is not a good position? Because you're really not in control. That is why people have control issues, because one feels helplessly and completely out of control. That is why there are control issues. And the solution here, according to the teaching of the Bhagavad Gita, is to bring in Bhagavan as the proxy actor. You are the karta. You are the one doing this, not me. And Bhagavan tells as much in the 11th chapter to Arjuna. Nimitta matram bhava savyasachin. Oh, Arjuna, the one who you think you are ambidextrous, you can shoot off arrows with one hand and the other hand, you don't have a dominant hand like most people. You are so skilled, but still be the instrument. Be the instrument, not the agent. You are not the agent of action, you are the instrument. And so, in this is a wonderful teaching, because we learn to bring in Bhagavan as the proxy actor. This is something that is there ingrained in childhood in everyone who has grown up in India or grown up with Indian parents. Because, if supposing you praise somebody, oh, you are such a good musician. Oh, they will say. They will be feeling happy inside, no doubt. Oh, you have acknowledged my talent. But they will say, it is Guru's grace, it is God's grace, it is my mother's training. They will acknowledge something other than themselves. This is ingrained in the tradition. This is what is ingrained in our day to day life, because seeing oneself as the agent is giving an invitation card to all kinds of troubles. Two examples of the troubles: one is wrought with guilt, all kinds of guilt. Why did I do this? Why didn't I do this? How could I have done this? How didn't I do this? I should have known better. Oh no, I messed it up again. So karta is equal to guilty. Karta means I'm inviting guilt. And if I identify as the karta, I'm inviting one more thing. And what is that one more thing? Hurt. I did so much and nobody is acknowledging. I did so much and it all went to waste. I did so much, nobody even said thank you. So, being a karta, identifying as the karta, as an agent of action, is just bad news. Why would I want that? So therefore, it is expedient. It's very expedient to say, "Oh Bhagavan, you are the Srishti Karta. You are the maker of the whole universe. In this universe, you have given me this body, mind, sense complex, this ability to act, this ability to have desires. Lead me, take me, and help me to do whatever is your will. Let my will be in tandem to your will." This is basically what the teaching is to understand, is to invite Bhagavan. You don't have to invite, but then it is just as though invite Bhagavan to be the actor. Bhagavan is laughing because Bhagavan is already the actor, but still we are saying, I renounce the concept of doership. You please guide me. So if I am not the agent of action, it then the logically follows that I do not generate the results of action either. The results of action are given to me. My own karma is gift wrapped, recycled, and given by Ishvara to me to have and to enjoy. And I have no other go other than enjoying them, other than learning to accept the results of action gladly. Maybe in the beginning it is not gladly. It is say, "Oh, Prasada," one cries. But that's okay. As long as we see it as Prasada, there is great growth. The possibility of growth is there. And therefore, when one practices like this, one finds that one is less reactive, more responsive. This is the prasada of this the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, what we can look forward to in our everyday. One becomes less reactive, more responsive. There is an inner space between one's emotions and the wisdom that one commands. There is an inner space between the sakshi, the witness, and the raga dveshas, and the recalcitrant and difficult to manage raga dveshas, which are jumping in and out, up and down inside the antahkarana, inside the mind, heart, etc. There is inner space. There is more relaxation. Because it's all in the hands of Bhagavan, one need not be stressed. So, Bhagavad Gita is a primer for stress free life. It is just beautiful. And then the last thing in terms of the day to day life teaching is that it enables one to grow into a person of compassion, kindness, and love, which is what one wants. And this brings us, in conclusion, to the second portion of the Veda, which is Jnana Kanda. And the Jnana Kanda, as I said, is for the mind that is prepared, the mind that is not resistant, the mind that has grown up emotionally. So these teachings of karma yoga, glad acceptance, and being, one with everything, and being able to see Bhagavan in everything, cultivate bhakti, cultivate shraddha, cultivate the ability to see Bhagavan even as the form of one's own mad mind, is not just for its own sake. Karma yoga is like a dress that one wears. If somebody is wearing a tuxedo and sitting at home, and if you ask them, "Oh, this is a formal dress, are you going out?" "No, no, no, I'm just staying at home." Then maybe you are having some big event at your house. "No, no, no, I'm not having any event. I'm in fact eating by myself." Then why are you all dressed up with no place to go? That is the question we would have. It would be a very puzzling situation. So too for the person dressed with the karma yoga, it is for the sake of this knowledge. It is to understand the truth of oneself as Bhagavan, as the true as that which pervades the entire universe. I am non-separate from that Bhagavan. The karma yoga is the dress. It's the entry ticket to this knowledge. because it's only in a human body that even one can desire to be more compassionate, that one can desire this freedom from the everyday feeling disturbed, feeling affected, feeling afflicted, feeling personally slighted by the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. It is only now that that one is finally ready to receive this knowledge. So therefore, it is only in this human body. Even though I am told, oh Swamiji, cats and dogs are listening to your pravachan because my cat is coming and sitting next to me. Even though people say that, a cat is this knowledge is this teaching is not for the cat. The cat is fine. Cat is in the order of Bhagavan. It is not for the cat. The cat is sitting because you are sitting. This knowledge is for you. Why? Because only in the human being there is the ability to desire moksha, to desire to be free of this daily grind of disappointment, upset, fear, and sorrow. And only in the human being is there the ability to receive this knowledge in the buddhi. And only in the human being that impetus to pursue this knowledge is also there. And what is that impetus? The impetus to pursue this knowledge is in the form of not liking oneself, feeling alienated from oneself, feeling a sense of self-loath, fear. All this is there. And so it's a blessing and a challenge. The blessing is that the human being is free enough to desire moksha and to pursue it. The challenge is that there is self-loath and resistance to overcome before one can desire this knowledge. So the two portions of the teaching of the Bhagavad Gita, which at the end of the chapter we repeat, iti Srimad Bhagavad Gitasu Upanishadsu, the teaching of the Bhagavad Gita, which is like that of the Upanishads, which is the same as the Upanishad. Brahma Vidyayam, which is Brahma Vidya, which is the knowledge of oneself as whole, free, limitless, as one with Bhagavan, one with the whole Jagat, and there is nothing other than oneself. One walks in that glory, and that is Brahma Vidya. And then Yoga Shastre, Yoga Shastra, the day-to-day know-how of how to be in a non-resistant place in one's life in the everyday. How to be in a place of saying yes rather than no to life and all the opportunities and challenges it brings. These two are very much a package deal. You cannot have moksha without karma yoga. And yes, you can have karma yoga, but if after karma yoga you don't pursue moksha, it is like being dressed up, all dressed up with no place to go. So I will conclude here and then see if there are any questions, anything that you would like to do that you would like to ask. Om Tat Sat. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Swamini ji. I am spellbound, hearing, and I'm sure the audience is too, hearing these pearls of wisdom that you stitched together so nicely, like a garland, and explained it so lucidly, so easily with beautiful analogies. If I were to quote in Hindi, it is like putting a sagar in a gagar, with the limited time that we had. You went, I felt it was a beautiful crash course on Bhagavad Gita in the limited time that we had. You started with desire, knowledge, samatvam, prarabdh, the prasad buddhi, the instrument agent complex, where we said proxy actor as a god. We need to bring in the godly virtues and the significance of human body and why we need to acquire bhakti and shraddha that we spoke about. Just loved it. So I had one question, right? You so beautifully explained that we are an encyclopedia of desires, right? And our life as it unfolds through our experience, we desire love and we meet rejection. We desire happiness and we experience misery. We desire joy and we see disappointment. So it keeps on unfolding, and we keep on falling to the trap of this raga dvesha, as you explained so beautifully. So why is it so difficult for us to overcome this default setting? Where our mind, even though our experience tells us it is not giving us the happiness or the satisfaction that we are seeking, we still keep falling prey to it. So if you can just expound on that a little more,
Yeah, in fact,
Swamini.
this is the question that Arjuna also asks in the third chapter. you know, अथ केन प्रयुक्तेन पापं चरति पूरुषः अनिच्छन्नपि वार्ष्णेय बलादिव नियोजितः. So even without desiring, anichannapi, how come the person pursues, person falls into wrongdoing? How come? And so this is, we can just say that the root cause of this is not knowing the glory of the self, not knowing that I am already what I seek. I am already what that which I seek is Bhagavan, that which I seek is freedom from sorrow. I am already everything that I want. So if that is not known, then that morphs into desire. And desire does not let us keep quiet. Desire morphs into action, and action into results of action. So you have a loop. These days there is this trend of having family tree. So if we do a family tree for avidya, this is what it would be. So first we would have avidya. This is the matriarch, because avidya is feminine, that's why. So she is the matriarch. Then she has a son, kama. Avidya brings kama. The son has now avidya has grandson. The son has a son, because kama puts pressure to act. So from kama we have karma, and karma has twins, results of action which are two in number, papa and punya. And then after that we have punarjanma, because the encyclopedia of desires from A to Z doesn't finish in this life. It is carried over. It is one place, when the body departs, it is one place, the final flight, where you are not charged for your baggage. You say, oh, I have one more suitcase of desire, bring it on, it is free, take it to the next life. So this is why we need these teachings. This is why we need satsang. This is why we need to grow along with others, because the problem is alienation. That's why when we see that other people are also studying this, other people are also reading the message of the Bhagavad Gita, there is less alienation. You don't feel so crazy. So this is one way to slowly grow together.
Thank you so much. I think it sheds a lot of light on this topic. I have a follow up question on that as well. So, Bhagavad Gita teachings, like you said, these are timeless teachings, and they have the ability to take us from where we are, not where we intend to be. Right? So it paves the entire roadmap, like Lord Krishna has explained throughout. So, how would we tell a scientist or people with scientific temperament, especially today's youth, on to accept the truths of spirituality, like in Bhagavad Gita or Vedant, we have on face value? If you can just explain that, that is a common challenge. I believe a lot of parents here in Western world they face. So if you can expound a little bit on that.
Nitin, you have asked a very important and a wonderful question. And this is indeed a challenge, because one starts to think that one must make what is spiritual, whatever we call is spiritual, into something that is scientific. That is not, those are two different pramanas. Those are two different means of knowledge. Science is based on inference, and the teaching of the Bhagavad Gita is not based on inference. It is its own means of knowledge. And it is easier to accept inference because it is dependent on pratyaksha, another means of knowledge, which is the five sense organs, which with I see and I hear, I taste, I pick up smells, etc., I touch. This is what, this is the root of all inferences. So inference, if we could infer that there is Ishvara, if Ishvara becomes the subject matter of inference, then Ishvara will become finite, because whatever you can objectify, whatever you can infer is finite. And still one is craving for the infinite. So therefore, you see, you cannot trap Ishvara in a box or in some kind of a category. And so the inference is its own means of knowledge. Science is based on inference, so science is its own means of knowledge, and this is a means of knowledge. The Bhagavad Gita Upanishad is a means of knowledge which gives you that which cannot be had with any other means of knowledge. This we have to understand. Just like eyes are important in gaining the knowledge of forms, colors, you cannot substitute that. This is a fact. And so I cannot say, oh, today I'm having blurry vision. So let me see the color of this flower using the ears and put the flower next to the ear. Nothing will happen. Neither will I understand neither will the ears, poor thing, understand what is the color of the flower, nor will they understand what flower is it. Is it in the shape of a rose or a hyacinth? Nobody will know. So therefore what? So therefore we have to understand how pramana works. Each pramana is a king in its own arena. And what the Bhagavad Gita reveals, that's why it is a revealed knowledge. What it reveals is not human made. It is a revelation of something we cannot intuit, because there is a contradiction between the doer and between the knower and the known. The knower happens to be the known. So therefore the knower has to be knocked off. The ahankara as the knower, the pramata, has to be knocked off in order for this knowledge to take place. And that is where the Gita excels. So in response to your question, the point is not to make the Gita more scientific, but to give this idea of pramana, is to understand, and to say that Gita is not against any other pramana. Gita, Upanishads, they are not against any other pramana, like the eyes cannot fight with the ears or with the tongue. There is no fight there. They all work independently to bring something to light. Each one has its own domain. So too, in the knowledge of the I as the cause of the universe, this has to be revealed, because the I cannot be objectified. The body is an object, yes, mind is an object, I can observe the mind, but the I, which is the indweller of the body mind sense complex, is all pervasive. Paramatma, Bhagavan, cannot be objectified, so this knowledge has to be revealed. We can help with using inference and other things slowly, but the point is not to make the Bhagavad Gita scientific, would be a disservice.
That's so nicely put in. It's the first time I'm hearing it that way. It's remarkable how you are able to explain this very esoteric topic and this often topic that comes up for discussion in such a simple manner. It's going to stick with me for a long time, and I'm sure with the audience too. I think we have time to squeeze in one more question. Swamini ji, in your lecture, you said coronavirus, you called it Karuna virus, right? You said it basically asked the world to stop running around. Now, this is again a very often asked question that, God is all powerful and causelessly merciful. Then why so much of misery in this world that people are grappling with? And also in your session, you said more difficulty, more Bhagwan. So if you can explain that concept a little more, I think this is a very, very deep concept that needs to be understood in perspective. So if you can please explain that, I think that will be really helpful.
Yes. You see, the human being is Mishra. Mishra means a combination of Papa Punya. In fact, everybody's last name should be Mishra, because that is what the human being is. Combination of Papa Punya. So certain unpleasant situations will unfold through the course of the day, through the course of the life. Certain pleasant situations will also unfold. The tendency of the human being is to focus on the unpleasant, because when the going is good, nobody even questions it. One feels entitled to it and one says, oh, this is part of the thing. But when the going is not good, then one says, oh, Bhagavan, why are you giving this to me? You see, this is when the person complains, laments, all these things happen. But we have to look at it in perspective. This is karma. So karma means it will unfold. The unpleasant and the pleasant, where are they coming from? They are coming from one's own life and things that have been done against dharma. If one has hurt somebody or made some life difficult for somebody, it will happen like this in this life or in the next life. So when you take it like this, then there is a little bit of an inner space between difficulties and misery. Difficulties means objective way of looking at it. Difficulties means I could be too hot, I could be too cold, I could have some pain in some areas of my body, I could have fever, I could have weakness, I could have some kind of a chronic debilitating disease. All this is objective, objectively speaking. But then when I start to enmesh with that and start asking the question, why me? Why not somebody else? Why is it happening to me? It converts into misery. And that is where the rub is. That is where, if we are able to see, okay, this happens, and we can read up. Nowadays, everybody knows Google, and you can Google it up. This condition that I have is happening to so many other people. I'm not alone. Already there is relief. Thank God. There are 50,000 other people with the same condition. Maybe rare, but at least there are a few thousand people with the same condition. It takes away that personalizing, that internalization, which eclipses our knowledge, our wisdom. So, therefore, that inner space is extremely important to cultivate. That inner space itself is Bhagavan, and that inner space is the prasada of this teaching, of these practices of karma yoga, etc. So then the prayer should be, oh Lord, let there be more of you and less of me in me as me. More of Bhagavan in me means more objectivity, more accommodation, more compassion. Less of me means less of jiva, less of complaints. That is the prayer. So, more difficulties, when I convert the difficulties into Bhagavan, and the why me recedes into the background, and therefore we change it into why not me. It had to happen to somebody, why not me?
You beautifully summed it up. I think it's a paradigm shift from why me to why not me. Loved it. So I know we are just about on time. You know, I have derived a lot of inspiration from this wonderful lecture of yours, and I'm sure our audience would be thrilled today. Thrilled, I think, is an understatement, I would say, by hearing this amazing and yet, how simply you have been able to explain some of the very, very profound and esoteric concepts of Bhagavad Gita for daily living. And I must say that, it has been absolute delight and a honor to have you on our session. And we look forward to more such sessions with you in future. So that we can hear more about the practical applications, because Bhagavad Gita is normally related as a scripture, rooted in idealism. And I think you shed a lot of light on it, what practical relevance it has, and lot of tools, wealth of information that you presented. It was amazing. I mean, can accept our gratitude from the core of our heart from the entire JK Yoga team on this. We wish you the very best for the great service that you are rendering to humanity by disseminating this divine knowledge. And thank you once again so much, Swamini ji. Humble pranams from our side and from JK Yoga's team for gracing us with your presence in today's session in our JK Yoga Bhagavad Gita Summit. Thank you so much once again for that.
Thank you to you, Nitin, and for the kind words, and to the organizers of this wonderful summit. All I can say, it is Guru's grace, it is Bhagavan's grace. We are just there, we try to go with the flow. Happy to be of service. Thank you again. Om Tat Sat.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Radhe Radhe.